Let's go to, here's somebody from New Delhi, India. Arihane.
Yeah.
Arihane?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Okay. So my question, just give me a second. Yeah, my question relates to cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist myself, but at times I find myself invoking Pascal's wager at desperate times. I would call myself a militant atheist at the other times, but when push comes to shove and I'm hopeless about something, I would fall back and invoke the name of God that I have associated with for a major part of my life.
Yeah.
So what do you advise in that terms?
What was the last part?
So how do you advise atheists like me? I'm sure that there are more to deal with this thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't beat myself up over it too much. I mean, what you're doing is in a state of desperation when you are stuck with perhaps no reasonable solution, no action that you can take. You fall back to the sort of indoctrinated position you had before. When you do this, I doubt that if you thought about it for a second, you actually believed that it's doing any good, or you wouldn't be asking the question. And I tend to just write things like that off as you're working your way out of this mindset, and the best course of action is to recognize when you're doing it and say, okay, now I'm in this situation and I've done something which I think is foolish, that it's not going to do any good, and I did it out of desperation because I don't have any other solution. Let me pause and regroup and see, is there some other action I can take? Is there any way to fix this? And if not, then is there someone I can talk to? Is there someone who might be able to help, who might be able to help resolve this issue? And if not, just recognize that this is something that you're not going to be able to work on or fix at the moment, and move on to the things that you can fix.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay, I'll think about it. And also, so I have another question as well that I was thinking about. It's about the concept of nature or natural being provable. Is there some way in which a rationalist like us would accept the existence of supernatural?
Well, if there's a claim, so I did a video which I posted recently on YouTube about the problem of demonstrating the existence of the supernatural and the problem of demonstrating supernatural causation. And until someone provides a mechanism by which we can confirm the existence of the supernatural, or that it can be a cause of anything, we're stuck. There's no rational justification for appealing to it. It doesn't resolve anything. It doesn't explain anything. There's no way to demonstrate that it's true yet. So the first thing we'd need is some sort of methodology by which we can confirm it. It's the same for anything. Even natural things that we don't yet know about or didn't yet know about. If someone before we had a good understanding of electricity, if someone had claimed that there were electrical forces and tried to claim how they worked, what we would need is a method by which to go about testing those and build models and theories that describe them so that we can use them. And until you do the first step, you can't get to any sort of rational justification for an appeal to the supernatural.
So who do you think will create that mechanism, or do you think do we agree that sort of mechanism does not exist yet?
Well, I definitely agree it doesn't exist yet. As to whether or not it's likely that somebody is able to demonstrate this, I can't say. I don't think it's likely, because I don't see how you could actually do that. Because if you demonstrate, you would need to use, for example, the methods of science to demonstrate that the proposition is true. And science is blocked from investigating the supernatural until there's some way to demonstrate that it exists. And so there's a little closed loop there. And many of the things that people might claim were supernatural, by the time we have a way of knowing and understanding them and are able to actually test them, they just get folded into part of the natural world. It's like if you're in a box and there's no doors or windows, I don't know how you can investigate what's outside the box. Somebody needs to cut a door first, and I don't even know that that's possible, because it may be wrong-headed to think that there's anything outside the box in the first place. this proposition that there's something beyond the natural world, I don't see any reason to think that that's plausible or likely or even possible. So there's a whole lot of work to do. Yeah. I mean, what is? I don't know that it gets us anything, but I also don't see how we can get there. So I wouldn't go so far as to say, yes, the supernatural does not exist, absolutely, and nobody will ever be able to demonstrate it, because now I'm making a claim that I've somehow gained an understanding of the supernatural enough to be able to exclude it, and that's not the case. All I can say is I don't see that it's likely. I don't see that it's happened yet, and I find it bizarre that there are people running around who accept and believe supernatural existence and causation without demonstrating any way that they know this.
So you don't watch the History Channel?
I do not watch the History Channel apart from Pawn Stars.
Okay. Yeah, we have some terrible TV here that asserts supernatural all the time. So,
we get History Channel as well, so I know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we're exporting that to India. But, all right. Thanks so much for the
Matt
call.
And Don.
Yeah.
I'm been a great fan of your show, watching it from a number of years. Thanks for the great work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.